Look at this guy. Trouble. This guy is trouble. Today I wanted to talk about this. My infinity whiskey bottle. Hey, welcome back to Drinking It In. I am your host, Chris Casara. We are here to help you know more and drink better. And the kitten Eddie is chewing on some plastic right below me. Get that out of your face. You gotta be kidding me, dude. Look at this guy. Trouble. This guy is trouble. All right, come on. Great. We'll see that plastic come out later, I'm sure. Today I wanted to talk about this. My infinity whiskey bottle. Now this is technically one of my infinity whiskey bottles. I put it in a bottle of Contratto Vermouth because it's simply the most beautiful bottle I've ever seen, right? With that label and the clear view of the liquid. But I want to talk about the concept of an infinity blend. And I'm doing this with sort of Scotch / American whiskey, which is this one we're going to talk about. And I'm also going to talk about a bourbon. And I'm also considering starting an Infinity Amaro bottle. Now, conceptually, right, what an infinity bottle is a bottle that you build over time with the last bits of a beverage that you have in a bottle that you've drank through. So in this case, whenever I finish or get close to finishing a Scotch, an American whiskey, or another whiskey that has that similar profile, there's an ounce or two left or three. What I do is I pour it into this bottle. And ultimately, what tends to happen, if you do it right, it takes some practice, is you get a really unique whiskey to sip on. And this guy, I have my trusty blend record for this one. And this started with, I was down in Washington, D.C. I wasn't having a pleasant work experience. We had moved down to D.C. and I was just getting the crap kicked out of me every day. So what I decided to do is, as I started this infinity whiskey bottle, I called it the bad day at the office, right? That was the first blend. And so I finished that blend up. And the same way with finishing a regular bottle of whiskey and then pouring it into this infinity bottle, right? I got down to like 2.5 ounces, 2 ounces of the bad day at the office blend. And I started the bad year at the office blend. Version 1 of this infinity bottle was, the bad day at the office whiskey blend. It had an ounce of Aberfeldy 12, an ounce of Glenmorangie 10-year, Glenmorangie Quinta Ruban, a half ounce of Ardbeg 10. I just threw a little smokiness in there. 2 ounces of Copper Dog, that's a blended one. And then I put 1.25 ounces of Stranahan's and Stranahan's Diamond Peak. This one, right, and ultimately, even though I put in a couple of ounces of rye in there just to give it a little more weight, this one, that first version was fantastic. I wonder how the bad year at the office whiskey blend is going to turn out. And like I said, I still have a few, or not like I said, I still have a few ounces left to go. This guy probably has three more bottles that I finish, maybe between 1 ounce and 2 ounces before I top this off and actually try it. I haven't given it a try, and I'm not going to just yet. Ruins my tradition of trying these at the very end, only when they're ready. So version 2 of the Scotch blend, it is the bad year at the office whiskey blend. I'm no longer having a bad year at the office, but it's taken a while to build this up because I really have curtailed my whiskey consumption over the last 3 years because it doesn't make me feel good the year after. But what is essentially in here at this point is 2 ounces of the bad day at the office, along with some Blackbush Irish whiskey, Monkey Shoulder, Stranahan's Blue Peak Colorado malt, Ben Romick wood finish Speyside, Virginia Distillery cider cask finish. Virginia Distillery whiskeys are insanely good. Glendronach Revival 15 year. I even added an ounce of that in here, as well as a Compass Box Spice Tree, which is a blend in and of itself. But that's the last add. I've added an ounce and a half of this. And, what I want to encourage you guys to do is to, really experiment with stuff like this. Like I said, this is sort of a Scotch and American whiskey blend. I also have a bourbon infinity bottle, and I'm considering starting an infinity Amaro, because that's the Amaro is what I'm drinking more of now than whiskey. So these things are not building up to completion anytime soon. I hope you like the concept. I'm curious if you guys have ever heard of this or are doing anything similar with your whiskey, Amaro, any sort of consumption, because in theory, you can kind of apply this to almost anything, with the exception of like wine and vermouth, like things that spoil, you're obviously not going to want to do an infinity bottle on, because they, once they're open and they hit some oxygen, they're going to turn to vinegar ultimately. Things like this infinity whiskey is just something I get a kick out of, and I've generally had really good reviews on the Scotch version when I serve it to people. So just something that you can't get anywhere else. Thanks so much for joining. Hit that little subscribe button. It would mean so much to me, and I will see you guys next time.